from learners, their parents, to the government. 7 months down the line, the school calendar was in shambles. Something had to give in. And on the 12th of October 2020, schools reopened for grade 4, class 8 and form 4 learners. But was that decision untimely? A few weeks after the 3 classes resumed learning, some schools started reporting cases of COVID-19. Now, our senior education affairs reporter Sharon Baranga looks at the effects of COVID-19 in learning institutions.
We have suspended learning in all our education institutions with immediate effect. Consequently, and to facilitate a phased approach, primary and secondary day schools are to suspend operations from tomorrow. For those in boarding schools, the school administration is to ensure that students are home by Wednesday, the 18th March 2020, while universities and tertiary institutions are to close by Friday, 20th March 2020.
Following the 15th March 2020 presidential announcement on the indefinite closure of schools, all activities lined up on the school calendar froze in time. At that time, a majority of learners were preparing to sit their end of Term 1 examinations, but that was not to be. Many did not expect the closure to last for months, but as it turned out, learners were forced to remain at home for months as the country went on a lockdown in efforts to try contain the spread of COVID-19. But in the months that followed, there was pressure from learners and their parents. Some of them, the candidates of 2020, panicked that they will be forced to repeat a class. The Ministry of Education was also not at peace. With the altered school calendar and learners who were keen on resuming learning, the government had to find a solution.
This pandemic did not give anybody notice.
Nothing will replace the interpersonal relationship between the child and the teacher. And that's why when we resume learning, then we shall ensure that that particular relationship is picked from where we left, and that every child will be able to get an equal opportunity.
In May, the Ministry of Education appointed a 9-member committee led by Sarah Ruto. Their assignment was to explore the best possible strategies of restoring normalcy in the education sector, from reopening of schools to saving the school calendar.
The ministry will continue to engage with the National Task Force on COVID-19 and other relevant government agencies from time to time on policy directions and interventions for the prevention of COVID-19 to ensure that policy on hygiene and social distancing by schools are observed and adhered to when we reopen.
Fast forward 7 months later, on 12th October 2020, schools reopened for grade 4, class 8 and form 4 learners. This was the first phase of reopening of schools. But a few days later, some schools started reporting COVID-19 infections. It started from the Star of the Sea and Tononoka High School in Mombasa. Soon, a number of schools from different counties had cases of infection of the virus. Some teachers succumbed to it, which sparked another debate. Was it too early for learning institutions to reopen?
The threat of COVID is not on children. Children will be largely safe, but they will be asymptomatic carriers. The biggest group that is a threat are teachers. And we've seen quite a number of them have died.
We are encouraging teachers who are aged 58 and above and those with pre-existing conditions to work from home as much as possible. These teachers can be utilized in offering critical duties such as preparing schemes of work, teaching aids, and marking, amongst others, so that they can keep the teachers who are actively in class with lesser load.
Because life must continue as long as we obey the protocols that are given, which unfortunately most of us are not obeying.
But the government was adamant learning will continue. Students and teachers affected will be placed in isolation centers within their school compounds where they will be monitored as they received treatment. President Uhuru Kenyatta went ahead and directed the Ministry of Education to design another school calendar, and 4th January 2021 was picked as the ideal date on when full learning will resume.
This will apply to PP1 and 2, grade 1, 2 and 3, class 5, 6 and 7, and Form 1, 2 and 3 learners. 2. All 4-year-olds will join PP1 in July 2021. Number 3, pre-primary 1 and 2, grade 1, 2 and 3, class 5, 6 and 7, and Form 1, 2 and 3 learners will start their second term on the 4th of January 2021 and end on the 19th of March 2021, together with grade 4 candidates.
In a few days, all learners will resume school from where they left at in March, when all school activities stopped following the indefinite closure after the first case of COVID-19 was reported in the country. However, the scars from the pandemic will continue to be felt for a long time in the learning institutions, as some lost their teachers to the virus and some private schools were affected to an extent that they are not sure they will be back in operation anytime soon. Some may never reopen at all. Sharon Baranga, TV 47.